Alright, so that shit was fucking heavy as fuck. I decided, after years of trying to get a good bass tone, I've seen all these videos on YouTube of plugins that people can't afford. So I decided, why not just make one myself? So, to get to the point, most of these plugins are free except for Bias Effects. This one I have the Pro version, or the Ultra, whatever the fuck that is. It's like $300, but they're on sale all the time, so you can probably find it cheaper. But anyway, most of these are free, like this one for example, and then the other ones are just like included in Cubase. So first off, I'm gonna solo the bass so you guys can hear exactly what the tone sounds like. So it's pretty like Born of Osiris type of Djent shit. I wouldn't really use it for like, I don't know, hardcore shit. You probably want more of like a raw tone instead of like guitar amp high gain shit. But anyway, we'll start off with the sub. Here's what the sub sounds like. So pretty much just the low end of the bass. I'm just gonna bypass all these plugins here for the sub. So here we start off with the EQ. Just, you know, cutting off high end, mid, boost to the low. This here is a free plugin from Ignite Amps called SHB1. You can see here my settings for it. Pretty much just gives it more of a boost to the low end. Nothing really too special there. Then I have Bias Effects here. So this is a preset from Tone Cloud I downloaded from some dude. It's called Raising Hell Without Bass Expansion. That's all I can really say because I didn't make this tone. I just got it off of Tone Cloud, so you guys can go find that. Limiter here because when I was playing this bass and recording it, some of the notes sounded louder than the others, so I have to put this limiter in here to even them out. So you can hear when I was turning it on and off the difference. And also I got this maximizer here. So yeah, that's all for the sub. Moving on to this Jinky track, this is where most of the gain comes in. You can see there's a lot of plugins here. So first we start off with a gate. This is to reduce a lot of the high frequencies and shit because we're treating this kind of like a guitar amp where you're gonna need a gate to clean it up, especially since we got these choppy parts here. A lot of distortion rings through, so we have to kind of tame that with this gate here. You can't really hear a difference because I don't have the amps on, but if I just turn everything on, you'll probably hear it. That was probably really loud, but anyway. So moving on, I have this free plugin here. It's basically like a Sans amp replication, just a free one here from TSE Audio. Here are my settings. Just a lot of drive in the mid-range. Here I have this Prophet drive pedal. It's kind of like what a Tube Screamer does, except Tube Screamer sounded a little bit too boxy, so I used this one. This is from Ignite Amps as well. It's more for like super heavy saturated distortion, which is what I was going for with this bass track. So I really recommend trying this out for guitars and bass because I also have this on my guitar in this song. But here's what it sounds like. So it really like fucks the tone up, but that's what we're going for because we want like a really gritty tone. Next up, I got Tone Forge Guilty Pleasure. I bought this like 3 years ago. This is my first plugin I've ever bought from Joey Sturgis Tones. It's really fucking good, but it's more for guitar, but for this case I use it on bass because I really liked how it sounded. So here's what it sounds like with it off, and here's what it sounds like with it on. So really gives it a super heavy gain and drive sound, but with all that power we have to start to kind of tame it down. So I had this EQ here to sort of shape the tone. I really cut out a lot of the low end because I want to leave that to the bass sub tracks, and a lot of these harsh frequencies right here, and then a boost up here to give it some more clank. I don't know what the fuck just happened to my song. Here it is. So here's what those harsh frequencies sound like if I had them off. So you can really hear it once I turn them on and off. Here's what they actually sound like more singled out. So yeah, as you can tell, that shit's like ear rape, so we don't want that in our song. And then this part right here just gives it more of like a gain tone. I also did some more EQ to kind of take out the boxiness and reduce those harsh frequencies again. There's nothing really special here. You can really hear that boxiness goes away once with this EQ curve right here. Shit, hold on, here. So I take back what I said. This studio, this EQ thing right here is actually really fucking important. And also I got a limiter right here. Alright, so I send both these tracks here to the bass master track for some more processing. Here's my EQ curves for the bass master track. There's nothing really too much going on here. Actually, I take that back again. There's a lot of fucking low range boost, taking out the boxiness. Another harsh frequency I didn't like, and then I'm kind of dialing down the like high tone because I want I want the guitars to have this high tone right here. And it sounds a little bit too muddy when I don't have that fourth curve on. So yeah, and then I got this compressor right here. You can see this really does a lot of work with taming the low end, because without this it sounds really fucking boomy. It will overpower anything in the track. And you can see this really blends well with the guitars right here, because the low end of the bass really is fitting in with the guitars, whereas without all this it would really just not sound glued together at all. So yeah, you can see that this does a lot of work right here. And that's pretty much it for this bass tone. I really recommend to go check out Ignite Amps and download their free plugins, because this really helped out a lot. And to also go ahead and experiment with yourself. If you use Cubase, they have this feature, or I mean this plugin called Amp Simulator. I'm just gonna keep that, but it has a lot of amp emulation and cabinet simulators, and it can really sound brutal if you're using it correctly. Actually, for this, I want to go more into detail about my drive pedal. You can hear there's that little whistle sound that this thing delivers that really allows the grit to stand out over the track. And with that, I think we'll just end the tutorial.